So, I just got back from what was supposed to be the first PTA meeting of the year, except that apparently the other two changed the day and forgot to tell me. So I got to the address, which was one of their houses, and no one was there. And I called them, and neither one answered the phone at first, so I was just like sitting there in front of a empty, nobody home house with my laptop and everything going doop-a-doo. And then finally they called me back and were like, oops, we got our wires crossed. And it's just like, not an auspicious start. I don't even want to be in a leadership position for the PTA, except that I joined the PTA when Link started kindergarten, and it was like 3 parents, 6 teachers, 3 parents. And the most we ever got was like maybe 5 parents at one meeting. And I think a lot of it is just that they're not good at marketing, as in letting other people know about the PTA. I gave them ideas and they didn't act on it. So they were like, please, we need to have like a secretary and a treasurer and a president. And I was like, well, I don't want to touch money. I really don't want to be the president. I guess I'll be secretary. And then all of a sudden they're like, yay, we have a secretary. And I'm just like, fuck. Because you know me, I take on way more responsibility than I have time for. But at least Link is starting school again at the end of the month. Hooray! Which will be great because, Aiden's been in daycare every weekday, but Link's been home just watching huge amounts of crap TV and playing video games and making huge messes and just interrupting me all the time. Because he's bored, and it's also been wicked hot. For about a full week, it was all high 90s, over 100 for a few of those days. And we don't have AC, so, we're at home with our fans. I have various spray bottles. I fill it with water and just spray myself like over and over and over. Getting through the day. I feel bad for the animals because, they have fur. I give them water and everything like that, but they just lay on the floor panting and I feel so bad. Before next year, I would like to at least get one of those where it goes up in the wall and then it has like a tube that goes outside. Something like that for downstairs, because climate change every year is just gonna keep getting hotter. And of course AC, there's the fucking neighbor's dog that never shuts the fuck up. AC is also bad for the environment. There is technology out there that cools off without putting harmful chemicals in the air, but they're more expensive, they're hard to get a hold of, and just, I think they use up more energy too. Link is watching TV very loud downstairs and it's distracting me. Yesterday was fun. While we were at this employee family picnic thing on Saturday, I got a text, and at the time, I didn't really think about it. It was one of those like, oh, your package has been misdelivered, please re-enter your address. And I've gotten legitimate ones of that before through Wayfair. And I'm actually expecting a bunch of packages because we've been ordering parts to make me a new desktop that is hopefully going to be really good at editing, and is going to have 128 gigs of memory, so that hopefully soon I can start playing around in Blender, which I will live stream, topless, as I'm learning how to play Blender. So use Blender, so you can join me on my journey of trying to figure out how to do 3D art. So I was expecting packages, and so in a distracted thing, I clicked it and put my address in. And then yesterday I was like, that was a scam. Fuck. So I, froze my credit. I canceled my card that I use for business expenses, which is so frustrating because I literally just did that like 2 months ago when I got a scam charge from someone else. And so I had to change everything to a new card, and now I'm going to have to change a new card again. But hopefully that's enough to stop anything from, being done with my credit. But it's just, our country does not do enough to stop scammers like that. They make it really easy. And it's like, normally I never fall for that shit. I just because I was distracted and because I'm already expecting packages, I was like, you know, like old people and just technologically incompetent people are falling for that all the time, getting their identity stolen all the time, and it's like the government doesn't understand. The other thing that happened at that family party thing or whatever is it was at this big park that has separate eating areas, and they had like a buffet. It wasn't very fancy. It was like, you know, hamburgers, hot dogs. But anyway, they had a buffet, and they had bouncy house across this giant field. They had a pool that was very murky and didn't seem like it had a lot of chlorine in it, and Matthew's convinced that we all got sick from it. They have a lake, but it's a little man-made one. It does have salamanders in it, which is kind of cool. I saw some salamanders in it that were like still, you know, in their aquatic phase, but they were like this big. It was crazy. They had little paddle boats, but it was so hot that it was like, okay, I don't want to. And when we got there, we were at the buffet, and Aiden was with me, and then he ran over to Matthew, who was getting food, and I was in line at the drink spot, and I thought, like, okay, you know, he's with that, you know, with Daddy now. Turns out that Aiden at some point got distracted and just left. And Matthew was like, where's Aiden? I was like, he's not with you. Started freaking out. I was walking all over the place trying to find him, you know, Aiden, thinking like, oh my God, someone's going to grab him and run. Apparently Matthew had seen him and was going towards him, and all he said to me is, I'm going to go get Aiden, which I thought meant I'm going to go search for Aiden, but apparently he meant that he was going to go get Aiden, like he saw him. As always, Matthew doesn't convey himself well sometimes, and then gets mad at me for not understanding. Yeah, anyway, and it turns out he had gone to the bouncy house, which was across the field, and I was just like, Aiden, you gave me a freaking heart attack. You cannot just leave, you know? Because usually he doesn't. Usually he won't go that far away. But yeah, so that freaked me out. And then right as we were leaving, I realized that my phone wasn't in my bag. And I started going, oh fuck, someone stole my phone. I had been careful to keep my bag with me, so I was like, I don't know when they would have had an opportunity to do it. But like I went back to the pool, and I was just walking around like thinking of all the photos. Because like I post my photos like on Instagram and stuff, and then like I save them off on my computer every, you know, few weeks. But, and of course, like, you know, logged into my emails and all these other stuff on my phone, and I was just freaking the fuck out. Turned out it was in Matthew's bag. He had a bag with like the swim stuff in it, and I was like, I don't remember putting it in there. He probably picked it up like off the bench that I was sitting there and put it in the bag or something. But yeah, so that was fun. Anyway, the kids enjoyed it, but it was very, very hot. It was in the hundreds the whole day, and there was a lot of shade because it was, you know, there were trees everywhere. But even in the shade, it was just wicked hot. And World Naked Bike Ride was that evening, but I was just so wiped out from the party that I was like, yeah, I'm not going. Plus, I don't have a way to get my bike down to Portland proper anyway. I don't have a bike rack. I keep forgetting to look into one, but yeah. So anyway, that was the weekend. Sunday, I had gone to... Oh yeah, Saturday on the way home, we stopped for ice cream, and I went into GameStop that was right there, and I picked up Immortals Rising, because it was only $13 for some reason. Skyward Sword remake for Switch was half off, because apparently Best Buy was having a sale. And then Tiny Tina's Wonderland, they had a used copy for like $15 off. But Matthew is a huge Borderlands fan. I'm okay about it. I have issues with Borderlands where... I kind of started hating it because when I first started dating Matthew, he was just volunteering at the library, but he didn't have a job because he was living off his military disability. And he would come over, and he and my mom would just literally play Borderlands like 10 hours a day while I was off working. And so I kind of started hating Borderlands for that reason. But I've been wanting to try Tiny Tina's Wonderland because like I like the idea of it being like a fantasy world or whatever. It's very Borderlands-ish. Like, you know, the look is a little different, but it's still guns and, you know, whatever. And also, because our big TV broke, we were playing on the backup TV, and I had to sit like 3 feet away to be able to like read the menu or anything, because our TV is, you know, our backup TVs, I'm bad at guessing dimensions. Like, it's, you know, it's not tiny, but on split screen, it's just, yeah. So that was a little frustrating, but I also started playing Days Gone, which I had bought a while ago on sale, and I had heard good things about it. And it's interesting because at the beginning, like, it's set in rural Oregon 2 years after a zombie apocalypse, which they haven't really said why people turned into zombies yet, but I guess that's not really the important part. But there's like a lot of like kind of like conservative values or whatever. Like, there's one guy that goes on and on about like trying to take my guns. Yeah, well, who's laughing now kind of shit. And I'm like, is this game gonna be like all conservative and, you know, just Republican? Because I'm not gonna enjoy that if it is. So I looked up reviews, and some reviews said that it actually like kind of comments on it, like makes commentary on it, and like the guy actually basically becomes more progressive as the game goes on or whatever. So I'm gonna keep playing it. The gameplay gets pretty repetitive. Like I started just skipping settlements. Like, I used to stop at each settlement and like clear out the zombies and look for stuff, but you can only carry a limited amount of everything anyway, so I'm usually full on everything there, which is frustrating. But yeah, I've been playing it. It's a game that I can't play in front of the kids because it's very violent. I mean, compared to some games, it's not that violent, but it's violent enough that I don't want to play it in front of the kids. So, as always, I don't have a lot of time to play it. But yeah. So, and then Sunday night, I got Aiden's second shot, vaccine, and he was fine, didn't cry at all. All the shots that my kids have had, because Link's had, you know, the 2 and the booster, and Aiden's had 2 now, they never cried. They were like, ow, and that was it. And we had just gotten ice cream, so we got pie instead, except that I can't ever get the kids to just eat dinner, so they don't get pie. If you don't eat your supper, you can't have any pudding. I still don't remember. What is that even from? I don't know. I mostly know it from that one song. Link's being really loud. They got into the marshmallows again this morning. I need to buy a lockbox so I can put like the scissors and the blades and everything like that. Aiden found an exacto blade a couple days ago and was running around with it, and Matthew freaked out at him, which, you know, fair. Except that he doesn't care if they use kitchen knives. I'm like, so you freak out over a razor, but you don't care about a kitchen knife. Okay. So there's this this left-leaning talk show that actually plays on the car radio at 9 to 12, because East Coast it's 6 to 9 when I'm dropping Aiden off, and it's also on YouTube and stuff, called the Tom Hartman Show. It's THOMHARTMANN, I think, but I mean, if you look it up, you can find it. And this woman was calling in, and she was talking about how she accidentally watched some of the Parkland live stream, the Parkland trial going on right now, about Alex Jones is the Sandy Hook one, and then there are also Parkland shooting ones going on. So many shootings. And they had a coroner talking about how these bullets destroy the bodies of children, and like in Uvalde, one of the kids was literally decapitated by the bullets, and just the massive carnage that it does. And she was saying that, you know, it should be treated like Emmett Till with the open casket. Like, let the average person see the pictures of the damage. You know, as horrifying as it is, maybe that will finally make a fucking impact on these psycho amosexual gun nuts who are so obsessed with their little bang bang toys that they don't care how many kids get murdered, because that's the price of freedom. And just listening to her briefly recap what she heard, yeah, nothing will ever get better. I mean, the NRA just fully owns almost all the politicians in Congress, Republican and Democrat. You know, Democrats tried like the day and a half sit-in to try to force some gun restrictions, and that never resulted in anything. There is the California, Newsom just signed into law something that basically models the Texas anti-abortion vigilante law, where it lets people, I think it lets people sue the gun manufacturers, or that might be a separate thing that passed it. I don't know. But, you know, trying to like basically use the Republicans' dirty tactics against them. I wish him great luck. I don't know how well it'll work out. I don't know how quickly it'll be struck down by some Republican-owned court. and obviously it's never going to happen in red states, who like to post Christmas cards of themselves all holding AK-47s, even their kids, because they're fucking psycho. But while this lady was talking, I was thinking, I remember at some of the protests and such, people would have boom boxes. I can't think of the other word, but basically boom boxes, and they'd be playing like audio of, George Floyd saying, I can't breathe, or stuff like that, and playing it at these protests. And I was thinking we should do that with like the coroner describing how kids are having their bodies ripped apart by bullets. Preferably play it right outside Republican lawmakers' houses, as much as is legally possible. But if that gets banned, like they, passed all this legislation very quickly about not being allowed to be to protest in front of Supreme Court justices' houses, because, fuck free speech if it's, actually affecting Republicans. And yet they'll turn around and scream that Facebook banning someone for spreading conspiracy theories is against their free speech. Fucking, I hate Republicans so much. I hate them so much. I hate everything about Republicans. But yeah, people should play audio of like the coroner's reports of children's bodies getting torn apart and stuff like that, at these protests. And, if I can cry just hearing a secondhand account of what someone else said about it, like, I don't know if that'll ever make a difference. But you got all these forced birthers holding pictures of alleged, ripped out fetuses. If they're allowed to do that, we should post some pictures of destroyed children. Maybe that'll finally make a difference. It won't affect the legislators who are paid to look the other way, but might affect the gun nut voters just enough to maybe make them not vote for the politicians like that. Again, I don't have much hope. I think people suck. I think that, there's just way too much voter suppression and gerrymandering for any hope for the midterms. It's so easy voting here in Washington because they just send the ballots to us. And compared to, red states where very specifically in Democratic heavy areas, they will close the polling areas. Like one of the guys was calling in the show too about, I can't remember what state he was in, but he said that last minute they closed his usual polling place and changed him to one that's 25 miles away. And for someone without a car or someone who has to work, a minimum wage all day job or whatever, that's extremely prohibitive. And that's the point. They want to make it hard to vote so that only, retired old white people with their pickup truck and their Trump flags can vote. Yeah. A lot of stupid shit going on in the world. Last thing that I thought was funny, not really funny, but, worth noting. I've been trying to get through my DMs and my emails and stuff, and I've actually been live streaming while I go through it. I did one on Twitch, and then I did another one on Joystick, which is the successor to Plex Storm, but hopefully better run, that allows full-on porn. So it's the only place I can do non-sexual topless streams. Not showing the screen, but just like me talking, and like when I got a gross message or whatever, I would read it aloud. I wouldn't say the info of the person. I'd just be like, oh, look, someone telling me to kill myself or whatever. While I was checking the DMs, there was one from someone that was like, hey, just want to let you know that there's some Republican nudists out there too, and we might not agree on everything, but yeah, I'd be happy to introduce you to some. And it was like, going back to why I don't call myself a nudist anymore, I have made it very clear, especially if you look at me on Twitter, where I'm like mostly just retweeting political stuff, and talking about it. I don't give the tiniest shit if we both happen to be non-sexual nudity supporters. If you are Republican, if you believe that 10-year-olds who were raped by their father should be forced to carry babies to term. If you think that the answer to children getting decapitated at school is more guns, if you think that trans people should not exist, if you think that gay people should not be allowed to get married, if you think that climate change is a hoax, if you think that, you know, giving huge tax cuts to giant corporations is supposed to somehow help the little guy. If you support any of these things, you are lower than dirt to me. You are an idiot. You are a fool. You are misinformed. You are choosing to be a terrible person. Probably this video is going to get banned as hate speech, because YouTube only cares about taking down alleged hate speech when it's anti-Republican. It doesn't matter if you tell gay people to kill themselves. Then YouTube is like, oh, this is fine. We're cool with this. Anyway, yeah, that message, I took a screenshot and I was like, fuck this guy. And again, talking about nudism is so boring. What the fuck is there to even say? It's so boring. I don't give a shit. Literally today, I posted a picture of me wearing a plaid shirt because I was like, oh, the weather got not chilly, but, you know, not as hot all of a sudden, so I can go back to wearing plaid. And some fucking cis white male nudist replies, yeah, I hate when I have to wear clothes too. And it was like, I'm not obsessed with being naked all the time. I don't give a shit. The only time I really want to be naked is on really fucking hot days, and even then I still wear underwear because carrying a towel around with you everywhere when you could just wear underwear is stupid. And when I'm swimming, then I like to be full nude because swimsuits are stupid, uncomfortable, and get full of sand, and, you know, are hard to take off after they're wet and everything. Those are the only times I want to be naked. Every time else, I am totally fine with wearing clothes, and I think it's totally fine if other people want to wear clothes. Nudists are so boring. So boring. That's why I'm not a nudist. I'm a non-sexual nudity supporter. And yes, it's a fucking mouthful. And yes, it's hard to hashtag. But as Kenny will probably endorse, I just really don't want to say I have anything in common with these people. Refer to my why I don't call myself a nudist video that I put up like a week ago. What was the other thing I was going to say about that? I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, I'm very tired because Link woke me up at 5 because he got a nosebleed. And then I had this rush of adrenaline thinking about the fucking timeshare thing that is still sending us bills to my mom, my dead mom, even though a year ago I sent them a letter along with the death certificate of her saying she's dead, stop sending us bills. Getting a rush of like, are they going to find some way to like sue me? I mean, like, I don't know, like they don't have the legal standing, but I'd have to hire a lawyer to fight it. And I really doubt that it's worth it to them, but it's still, you know, you never know what the lengths corrupt assholes will go to. So then I couldn't go back to sleep, and now I'm really tired. But my main goals for today are record an little audio clip intro to be put with my podcast episodes, which I've been working with one of my followers who's pretty techie, not really creative, but techie, tech savvy, to take the audio from my videos and put them up as podcast episodes. And so I just have this little intro that's going to be shoved in front saying, hey, this is audio from an actual video. If you want to watch a video, go to the website, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to try to do that, and start releasing my old videos audio as podcast episodes like once a week. Have to decide which videos are worth it. I don't know who's going to listen to audio only podcast episodes. I mean, the allure of my videos is my tits, so, but yeah, I don't know, it's been requested that I do it, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And so what I want to do is I want to also sell graphic design services and like illustration services and stuff. And also, and if my podcast does start getting a little popular, maybe I could get some, since it's audio only, some brand endorsements I can do during it. But the thing is that I've been hosting through Anchor FM, And if you do the brand sponsorships through Anchor FM, they use Stripe to transfer the payment. And the thing with Stripe, as those of you who follow me know, I tried to make a Stripe account so that I could sell digital copies of my photo shoots online to help me pay for hosting and all that stuff. And Stripe initially allowed it and then banned my account, saying I was using it to sell porn, basically. And I wasn't, and I fought it, and they just said no. Then later on, like a week or a couple weeks later, I found out that Anchor FM uses Stripe for their podcast ads. And so I was like, okay, I won't sell these pictures, whatever. How about if I can just use you for audio only things, ads? And they sent back a message basically saying, because I have female nipples anywhere on the internet, regardless of whether it's attached to the podcast or not, I'm not allowed to use them. And because this country, and UK, but especially this country, is so fucking absolutely puritanical, there's basically no financial vendors, ways of getting money from one person to another that allow sex work, which of course my stuff gets categorized as, even though the whole point is that it's not sexual. So it's just, frustration on top of frustration. My videos are banned all the time. When they're not banned, they're banned from monetization. In general, brands won't touch me anyway, but even if they would touch me, how do I get the money from them if I'm banned from using shit like Stripe? So, I don't know. All right, but yeah, anyway, so I'm gonna go do the podcast thing, and if you would like to listen to my videos as audio only, you can just look for Topless Topics podcast on whatever podcast app you use, and it should show up, hopefully. I think it's probably marked as mature, just because I swear. So you might have to enable something like that to find it, but yeah. And for new videos, if you aren't already, please follow me on social media, and all of the ones, because if you don't engage with my content a lot, my stuff is barely ever going to show up on your timelines. So the best thing you can do is follow at Topless Topics on Twitter, on Instagram, at Top Topics TV on Facebook. I don't use Facebook, I just auto post and then never look at it. But for people that refuse to use anything else but Facebook, like the PTA, and then I'm trying to force myself to use like Mastodon and stuff more, even though basically no one uses it, so I feel like I waste my time. And I would like to hire a social media manager to like kind of do that stuff for me. I don't know what I would pay them with, but maybe I can do that like side graphic design job, But yeah, so if you are of a social media manager with some experience working with smaller channels that might be available for hiring, please let me know, because I would like to hire someone who's actually had training for that, because I don't want to have to be training the person how to do the thing, because the whole point is to delegate so that I have more time to make actual content. And hopefully I get my computer built soon so I can work up here without having to take my laptop up and down and up and down and up and down the stairs. And hopefully Link goes back to school soon, and Aiden can keep going to daycare, and nobody gets sick for at least a week, and I can get some shit done. So, all right, long video. Don't vote for Republicans, please. They are making the world so much worse. And if you think that Republicans are looking out for you, turn off the Fox News. Put the Kool-Aid down. Take the tinfoil off. And also, if you think Democrats and Republicans are equally bad, get your head out of your ass. No one is saying Democrats are perfect. Yes, there's a lot of fucking problems on the left as well. But if you literally think that Democrats and Republicans are equally as bad, you are a self-righteous idiot. Stop making the world a worse place by creating a vacuum for Republicans to sweep in. Vote for the Democrats. Vote for the most progressive Democrat you can. And then call your reps, make a stink online, show up at protests, push for the policies that you support. Don't not vote or waste your vote on a third party and then complain when Republicans continue to take over and make things worse. All right, this video is definitely going to get banned as hate speech. Oh well, more screenshots from my toplesstopics.org/banned page.